Welcome to the Lovecars On the Grid podcast, your global motorsport roundup with me, Tiffany Dell, and Paul Woodman.
Welcome to episode 12 of Lovecars On the Grid, the podcast for a global motorsport roundup. Of course, we've got the Baku Grand Prix to look at. Very exciting. Formula 2, exciting with a bit of a rant from Dan Ticktum. Much more as well, a bit of WRC and MotoGP. But first, I'm frustrated. There's not much excitement on this channel. I can understand people not wanting to hear my opinions and views on motorsport and motor racing, but Tiff Nadell, you're the oracle. I wish we were. I wish
spread the word if you like.
Yeah,
so it's a nice bit of Monday night banter discussing. And people miss out what's going on around the world, and so it enables you to catch up. I don't know why we have to hit the button somehow. We're doing something wrong with YouTube's at the moment, but I have no idea what.
On the main channel as well. It doesn't seem to be happening.
We thank you very much for your very generous comments. You say some lovely things about us, but just not enough of you seem to be watching at the moment. I did that electric Tesla race car, and I got like 2 million in a flash of a hand, and now we're getting 20,000. But let us know why, if you know. Please. Go on the comments and tell us how we can expand.
Please, we're trying to do everything that they say to be regular. Every Wednesday, every Friday, every Sunday, do regular videos, do high quality videos. We're trying to do everything. So if you happen to be a YouTube guru, please do get in touch. Or just if you're not a YouTube guru, just let us know in the comments below. But without further ado, the Baku Grand Prix. Wow, it was quite exciting. What a great circuit. I love that. Completely different to Monaco, with that long straight couple of DRS zones. That makes it so different.
Also, a lot more tight corners. People think Monaco's tight, but it doesn't have those sharp 90 degrees. Monaco's quite a flowing circuit when you get going, with that one very, 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 very slow hairpin and the rasgas perhaps. But there were so many of those 90 degrees, and so many people down the escape road in qualifying practice, and so many hit the wall. You know, we had Leclerc, or we had, I can't remember, Ricciardo, Giovinazzi, Mazepin, of course. Was it Ocon, Tsunoda, who had such a good week and finally buried it on the right at the end of qualifying. But of course, it's quite interesting because it's part and parcel of the cars they're now driving that cause this problem, because you've got such fantastic brakes nowadays. The brakes are awesome, which we'll come to later in the race, obviously. But they have this fly-by-wire, so the brake balance is down to the computer. And of course, the modern driving style is to brake into the apex and to bleed your brakes off, to brake as late as you can, including up to the apex.
Bit of trail braking.
As soon as those fronts, trail braking as we'd call it, but they probably don't call it that anymore. Now they rotate cars instead of turning them in. But there's pretty a new terminology for trail braking. But as soon as those front brakes just snatch once, then you've lost your turn into the apex and you're in the wall. So it is a sort of, they all look like Muppets, but it's a bit of a price they pay for these high-tech cars they're driving nowadays with so much downforce. But and qualifying annoyed me a bit, flipping, what's his name, Crofty, banging on about the toes, worth 0.6 the toes. I mean, even if the slipstream is important, which it is, we saw that at one stage, they weren't the top six covered by 0.003 at one stage of qualifying. So when incredibly close qualifying times, and yet Crofty's banging on about getting a toe and getting a toe, which rather annoyed me. I think sometimes you need to ignore what's going on and just look at the entertainment given when qualifying was so close.
Yeah, I think he's brilliant. I love his to be able to talk like that for best part of 2 hours and to build up to it as well. Yeah, he's been very, very good. But
and his factoids as well, his stats, they drive me mad. This is the first time he's in third place on the third lap of a Grand Prix since 1988 or so, I don't want to know all the extra detail. Crofty, just paint the pictures.
I like it. See,
you're obsessed with 2-second pit stops, aren't you? So that's,
But you mocked my pit stop trivia. So fastest pit stop was 1.9 seconds Max Verstappen. Lewis Hamilton, 4.6 seconds.
Yeah, so and why?
Go on.
Why? Because another car came in the pit lane. Well, how maddening is it that you lose a race because you do a 2-second pit stop, like Red Bull did a 2-second pit stop, and you can't leave your pit box because someone else happened to come trolling down the pit lane your way. So,
but still, the Mercedes pit stop would have been getting close to 3 seconds, if not over 3 seconds. So there's a second difference.
I know it matters. It matters, but I just find those pit stops like racing, over high tech, over complicated. And I mean, I'm rather happy in the end that poor Lewis lost because of over-complicated cars. He shot himself in the foot with his.
Well, let's talk about that with the brakes.
Tech.
So we could see them. So they did the restart after poor old Max Verstappen. And we'll get on to the Pirelli thing in a moment.
Tires.
Yeah, but so they did the restart. Lewis in second, and I thought he had the line there for first place. Certainly looked like he outbraked him. And then we realized why. And it's all.
He'd done the overtake off the line. He was alongside before they got to the braking zone. It was then when he went for his brakes, he only had front brakes because he knocked his toggle or whatever it knocked. I mean, it's quite a good system. They all have that system. You could see his front brakes were really hot from the parade lap. So what they do is they turn off the fly-by-wire rear balance, most of it. So you can overheat your front brakes on that, which puts heat into the tyres, which gives you the grip at the first corner. Now, he says he'd switched it back to normal before the start. And somehow, when he took the start and moved slightly, jinked to the left, he somehow knocked the toggle back on again, which disconnected his rear brakes, which is why he just went sailing on. So high-tech science shot himself in the foot. But
wow,
it would have been quite
somebody like Lewis, the world champion, the world's best ever racing driver, to do something, a fundamental mistake that mere mortals like I did at Mallory Park. Locked up my brakes. I didn't have any toggles. I just had lack of talent. But
I mean, it is amazing how they manage those steering wheels. I couldn't do that, I don't think. I mean, they are incredible how they can drive at such high speeds and do all these different balances. But on this occasion, too many switches on the steering wheel. It's like there's one too many switches on his steering wheel. But of course, that was all set in motion by the tyres. And I don't know. I mean, the Formula One commentators, who do we have in the box? Wasn't Karun? Who was going on about the tyres? This is disgraceful. It can't. But Paul di Resta. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I think tyre failures are a part of motorsport.
Actually,
it's attack on Pirelli.
Anthony Hamilton, I think, was saying how awful. I don't think Paul di Resta was saying it so much. But
yeah.
But anyway,
because I mean, you get punctures. I mean, I think still Pirelli is saying that they were damaged with the dreaded carbon fibre bits, which is another motorsport problem, where I sort of say, well, you can't have all these carbon fibre appendages that are so easily cracked into little tiny bits. But to have a go at Pirelli, I think, is pretty unjust. You can set your car up to have too much camber or caster, or which is why Pirelli have a regulation pressure in their tyres, because they say, well, you can't start really low like they'd love to because you'll break the tyre, So we all know that the teams will push their tyres to the limit. They've got new tyres this year because they got so much downforce back unexpectedly last year that they're pressuring the tyres too much. And maybe 200 miles an hour, you've got a lot more downforce, and that's push the tyres, and it only needs a small cut. So I mean, NASCAR, every race meeting there's a tyre explosion. It's something because again in NASCAR they put more and more camber on. They want the grip. They know they risk tyres exploding. And however strong they make the tyres, the teams will put on more caster, more camber to try and get more grip out of that tyre.
Push to the limit.
Yeah, which is what Formula One always does. So to jump on the bandwagon and give Pirelli such a hard going over before they even really knew the cause, I thought was a bit out of order. Tyres will puncture.
But you can't go accusing without knowing the details. Yes, we can. We all jump to conclusions, but yeah, they're paid not to jump to conclusions really, and to see both sides of it. So yes.
But what a happy podium, mate! What a happy podium, mate!
Sebastian Vettel second place, Chico Perez, but
Seb was third, yeah.
Sorry, third place, but that had to be the. Seb
Gasly second. Gasly was second, wasn't it?
No, Seb was.
No, that's right. You got Vettel, because Vettel had the new tyres. Yes, Seb got. Chico was, I've still been sitting on the fence with Chico. Everybody thought he was the answer. He would do what Gasly and Albon couldn't do. And, the first half of the season, he hasn't really got on top of that car in qualifying, but finally proved that Red Bull have found someone that can follow Max and do the job they need to take points away from Hamilton and the others. So yeah, really happy podium. It was great. Good drive by Lando again.
Happy podium. I love that. That's a really good saying, because it with 3, you would have got some good odds on having those
Yeah.
podium. That's for sure. But would Chico have, if Lewis managed to hold it in turn 1 or off the line? You got to say that Chico would have been second place, because I don't think.
Yeah, he wouldn't have got back again in those 2 laps. Ferrari on pole, Leclerc again, but they were so easily overtaken in the race. They've either got a bad DRS system, they've got a lot of drag, maybe they've got a lot of downforce, which has enabled them to get pole at Monaco and then at Baku. But they were very vulnerable, both Sainz and him, in the race, for being overtaken. So a bit of a disappointing fourth for Leclerc.
But
Lando again.
But Charles, sorry to interrupt, Tiff, but Charles was overtaken without DRS in the first 2 laps, so he went down to 4th place.
Yeah, look.
With no DRS.
They got drag. Well, no, they're draggy. That's what I mean. They're quite draggy Ferraris by the looks of it.
And yes, Lando Norris, little superstar. What a great little ambassador he is for the sport.
And Fernando still fighting. He stole 6th off of Tsunoda in the last lap. Poor old Tsunoda got a bit shuffled back. He'd finally had a clear weekend and was running only 2 spots behind Gasly, and then he got badly shuffled on that restart. But it's good to see him finish a Grand Prix and get his self-confidence back a bit. Someone, of course, we haven't mentioned was there another Mercedes on the track at all? Did you notice one? I saw Lewis Hamilton doing a lot, but was there another one there?
That was embarrassing, really embarrassing.
I know.
I don't know what's going on there, but no, I think.
I mean, it shows to me how good Lewis is, because I think in all the practice they were both really badly, But Lewis has that ability to, when times are tough, he just can find that extra motivation, that extra bit of speed that launched him up the grid, and then did such a fantastic race. I mean, he was chasing those Red Bulls for all he was worth.
He was.
I don't think he wouldn't have caught them.
As Crofty said, he was on a knife edge, and actually he's right. One thing you say about Crofty knowing all the stats, I reckon that must be the first time ever that Lewis Hamilton has finished last in a race ever, because he's not finished before. He's had lots of DNFs, but surely that must be the last time he's ever actually finished in rock solid last place.
I wasn't even sure he drove round to the finish line, did he? I didn't know he'd gone into the barriers. I've no idea. I haven't even looked at the results properly. I didn't really care. I'm not sure he finished. So did he drive round?
I thought I saw he was a few seconds. I don't even know, but I think
I'll have to check now. I'll have to check now.
If so, Mazepin beat Lewis Hamilton, which is brilliant. It was good. It was a very exciting race. I loved Baku. I thought it was lots of drama.
Yeah, so I've always liked it there.
So for football fans, soccer fans, Baku will be on the agenda again coming up as well. But this is, of course, on the grid podcast. But so the European Championships are being held in.
Are they? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're there as well. So, yes. So, shall we stay in Baku with Formula 2? And I think we've got to kick off. I know it's not about this. I know it's about the winners, and I know it's about the whole weekend. But Dan Ticktum. He's got sass, he's got confidence, he's got arrogance, he's got ability, but
brilliant car control, fights back through. He's a fabulous driver.
So badly for me, and I like him. We've always supported him on every single one of these podcasts because he's such a brilliant driver. But God, you don't throw your toys out the pram like that.
I know.
We all get.
Well, even at the end of the race, even post-race on Instagram today, he's posting, that result was beyond ridiculous. And he's gone back through the incident and said the cars ahead of him braked early, so he went for the gap. He was already going for the inside on the straight, he comes up, we all know turn 3 is one of the tightest. You cannot get 3 cars. The commentators are all saying, it's not a 3-car corner.
Yeah.
But, the 2 cars ahead of him, Porsche and Armstrong on the outside, so he pulls to the inside. But he hadn't actually got fully alongside Porsche, let alone Armstrong, who was on the right. And only he knows that he's trying to make 3 cars go into a 1-line corner. So he's got to get towards the braking zone and realise that, Porsche is still alongside Armstrong. This isn't going to happen, Dan. Brake earlier, survive, continue the race, I mean, Armstrong probably never even knew Dan was there because Armstrong gave Porsche a reasonable amount of room, so they could have gone 2 wide. But only Dan knew that someone was trying to make it 3 wide. And just because maybe which is debatable. Porsche might have been hit by Armstrong. Dan's blaming Armstrong for squeezing Porsche into him. But Armstrong had no idea Dan was trying such a crazy manoeuvre on the opening lap.
Look, emotion is good, and particularly when you're in the heat of the battle, the emotion is just incredible, as you very well know. But you've got to calm it down a little bit. He's a professional racing driver, and he's got a lot of people to look up to.
Well, he's saying on Instagram, he's fought so hard to get here. This is his last year of make or break. He wants to be a Grand Prix driver. Well, if I was Williams, he's a Williams development driver, official title. He's one of the Williams crowd. Well, if I'm a Williams boss, I'd be thinking, I'm never going to put him in my Grand Prix car. Exactly. That's how he behaves. So someone from Williams has got to shake him and say, Dan, stop saying these things. We're never going to put you in a Grand Prix car if you act like this, however talented you might be. And, sadly, he's the only British driver doing regular Formula 2 now. And we've only got 2 British drivers in Formula 3. So we're actually quite short of British drivers on the escalator to Formula 1. Fortunately, we've got Lando and George who've got, 10, 15 years ahead of them once Lewis maybe retires. But we are short of British drivers on the ladder. And so we'd love Dan to come good, but he's got to be spoken to. He's an
amazing talent. He's an absolutely amazing talent, but it's not just about your talent, as you just said. It's you are representing that brand. Yeah. So whether he goes to Red Bull, Alpha, wherever he goes, he is representing that brand. Yeah. And no brand wants to hear their driver having a big slanging, swearing match at the officials and at their fellow drivers. No brand wants to see that.
He absolutely caused that accident, and he's still ranting and raging.
But even if he didn't, Tiff, even if he was innocent and he didn't that accident, you just don't conduct yourself in that way, in my opinion. But it was, Dan, keep doing what you do in terms of on the track and the driving, because you are phenomenal. But just keep that to your friends and family and your nearest and dearest.
Good double win though, Yuri Vips, the Estonian. He won the second sprint race and he won the feature race. So 20-year-old, he's a Red Bull back protege. So an Estonian heading the right way up the ladder. And of course, the other highlight of the Formula 2 race was Alice Powell commentating. I don't know if you heard these.
Brilliant. I know. Very good.
Her technical input is excellent. She talks really well about the drivers and what's going on. But she went for some Murray Walker Awards, though, which I caught. I'll read them out. She did Alice, this is lovely. Don't worry about it. I was a commentator for many years doing Formula 2 and Formula 3, and I made lots of bloopers. So bloopers are all part of being a commentator. But she talked about Formula 2 never fails to disappoint. Never disappoints Alice, or never fails to entertain. But I thought her best one, when she commented on an overtaking manoeuvre, she said that was a checkbook overtaking manoeuvre instead of textbook. Alice, don't worry. They're wonderful. These things come out the back of your head when you finished a live race commentary. Yeah. But it's good to have her doing those comments. And of course, it's there as well.
Yeah, so, it's good to hear somebody knowledgeable and fun doing the commentary. I really, really enjoyed that commentary. So it was good. F2 was good. F2 was exciting, given the track and the cars as well. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. Should we move on to WRC, which is a little bit dull, really?
Yeah, another dull. I talked about this last week. I forget where they were. There was only 4 WRC cars finished ahead of the WRC2 pack. And it's just this, Hyundai versus Toyota rally. And Hyundai's yet again shot themselves in the foot. They were fastest. Tanak. He hit a rock. Bless him. Rally would drive me mad. He came around a blind corner as a fully rock in the middle of the road, and he hit it and did the suspension. And Thierry Neuville as well had problems. But so ever-reliable Toyota.
Didn't he try and, instead of going over the tyres, go over the middle of the car and then brake hard and then accelerate to try and lift the car up a little bit and try and ride?
Well, apparently Ogier did that. Did that. Yeah. That was a story. But sometimes you just can't miss those rocks, and it's a very frustrating form of sport rally as a driver. You've got the first car starting road sweeping is always one moan, and then you've got rocks that happen to come out in the middle of the road. But through it all, the Toyota pair cruised to another 1-2, with Ogier ahead of Elfyn Evans. And with Elfyn, Ogier's just always got that little edge over him with experience. I think Elfyn can't wait for him to retire, which he's supposed to be doing this year, because it was another win for Ogier. Neuville's, managed to gain third for the only sort of surviving Hyundai that was any good. Takamoto Katsuda, the sort of, I mean, he is Japan's driver, but he's not there on being one of the fastest rally drivers in the world. We had another good fourth place, but they were all well spread apart, and it's I don't know how you make this amazing sport more entertaining to the viewer, apart from the stopwatch anoraks. So
yeah.
Of course, Ford aren't on the pace. The other manufacturers, there are three manufacturers in the game. Gus Greensmith had another gearbox problem or something, which put him right out of the picture. So, I don't know what to do with rallying. And of course, they're introducing a hybrid version. Is it next season? I'm not sure. Or 2023, I don't know. So, rallying a great sport, but not very entertaining at the moment. But unlike
you're going to say MotoGP, same as me. Yeah, that was brilliant.
But the Moto3, it almost got silly on the penultimate lap. It actually got a bit silly because the slipstream all the way down past the straight was so important. People are going from first to 10th and 10th to first, and all these children lined up almost 10 abreast across the track, approaching the penultimate because none of them wanted to lead. We have to start with poor John McPhee, our only British representative there, who was in the lead, and he just got too much throttle, high-sided it out of turn 2, having led the pack. Our other protege, our adopted protege, was Susie's adopted protege, of course, Costa. He qualified 25th.
How can you go from winning all your opening races and just setting the world on fire to?
And he was in the lead. He was in the lead about halfway through the race from 25th, and he actually started that fateful final run down the straight at Barcelona in second place after everyone in the slow bicycle race, and he went from second to 14th on that plunge into turn 1.
Wow.
And got back to 7th during the rest of the lap to the finish line. So Moto3 it's a bit crazy at times. Moto2, steady Sam this weekend, didn't fall off and didn't win, 7th for Sam Lowes. And Jake Dixon, our only other British competitor in MotoGP, he fell off in qualifying. I think it was wet. He actually started 32nd and had a reasonable battle up to finish 18th. So maybe Jake's coming back. But we need some winners. We need some British winners. They're all over in superbikes, aren't they, our British winners?
Where's MotoGP next weekend? Are they around next weekend?
They're not out, no. Because we should say a great win, of course, of Miguel Oliveira, the Portuguese guy, not Spanish, of course, in his KTM. First win for KTM this year to break the sort of Ducati Yamaha mob. Was Fabio Quartararo. It was so clear out on pole. I think every one of his qualifying laps was quicker than anyone else. And he has become this, firm favourite to not fall apart as he did last year. But he got a bit mugged at the start and he was battling back. Then you didn't see this maybe, his leathers unzipped themselves. So with about 3, he actually we sort of throws something out. It was his chest protector. And we then had this bizarre thing because his onboard camera is looking right at his face of a completely naked chest. And a commentator saying, black flag. They're all terrified, because he fell off with his leathers unzipped. And the injuries could be horrendous. But he kept going to the finish. He did get, I think, a 10 or 20-second penalty for riding without your safety equipment you have to ride. But it was quite a bizarre end to the race for Quartararo. Of course, the final thing for MotoGP, Marc Marquez fell off again. He's trying to come back from this horrendous arm injury that put him out for the whole of last year. And he's now 4 races in a row he's ended up in the gravel because he's on a Honda, which isn't competitive. So, of course, not only is he trying to make a comeback, he's trying to impress, he's pushing too hard in a bike that's by no means a front-running bike and in the gravel, as was Valentino Rossi, who we mentioned, Mugello last week out, falling again. So
Give it up. Go and sit on a beach, drink some pina coladas and enjoy your life.
But thank you, MotoGPs, as always, for some amazing entertainment.
Yeah.
I know the biker boys love pointing this out when we're debating a boring Formula One race. They always say, "Watch MotoGP."
It's certainly entertaining. Where else are we going? We're going to Nurburgring. Oh, the weather wasn't so good, was it? But it was. I like this format. It was World Touring Cars.
Oh, you can't like it, Paul. You can't like it.
I like the cars. I like the cars. That's what I like.
They're dull. dull front-wheel drive hot hatches. All the racing is into turn one where they bash each other sideways and pull it straight with their front-wheel drive, which you're able to do with front-wheel drive. But in a 3-lap World Championship race, 3 laps. The World Touring cars should be 500 kilometers with 2 drivers, big, powerful rear-wheel drive saloons. Race 1, Honda beat Lynx. Race 2, reverse grid for a World Championship event. You cannot have reverse grid in World Championship events, which led to a very simple Hyundai 1-2 in race 2. But no, the reason to go to Nurburgring was nothing to do with World Touring cars. It was the 24-hour race. Okay. And that had the weather from hell. I mean, it's a race I've always wanted to do, but never done. But looking at that, I mean, you're halfway around the Nurburgring on slicks, and you're met with a flooded track and thunderstorms, and there's skating off, then there's fog, and it's a perilous lottery. It always seems to be like that every year.
Isn't it? It's amazing. One side, beautiful sunshine, the other side is just horrific weather conditions. But is that more your style, is it, as opposed to the little front-wheel drive hot hatches?
Yes. You can't have a world championship with reverse grids and little shopping trolleys.
Well, speaking of which, our boys Tom and Nick, they took the Hyundai i30N to that year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah,
we'll put a link here for the 60 or 70 of you that watch this video. We'll put a link here. It means you probably watched that video as well. Okay, so let's get over the pond to NASCAR.
Yes.
Your man number 5.
Oh, that number 5. I'm afraid to report that NASCAR is going to get very boring for the rest of the year because Kyle Larson. I mean, we only started supporting the Needles because Montoya was in the number 42 car when he left Formula One and did NASCAR. So we followed Juan Pablo Montoya, great character in Formula One. And when he left the 42, Larson was this kid that we didn't know. And just the most amazing. He's a dirt track kid. He's in the race sideways all his life. And the Ganassi car, though, although he kept on showing promise, wasn't really a regular winning team. It's not their strength. IndyCar is Ganassi's strength. And so when he got banned for a year because of his racist comments, which is, a personal thing he's had to go through, the fact he's now come back in the top team, Hendrick Motorsport, he's now in a race-winning car, probably for the first time in his NASCAR career. And boy, is he showing it, but he should have won 2 more ovals. He's won 3 races already. He could have won 5. And his drive last night was just absolutely inch perfect. And
was it exciting though?
No, well, it was amazing at the back. It was on the road course in Sonoma in the deserts. They're all going off in the sand. And the last few laps, there was bump and the damage to the cars from about place 6 backwards was just absolutely horrendous. But no, he dominated. He just came through the pack. Every time he pitted and changed, schedule, he still managed to recover. And we're really seeing an era of Kyle Larson, who's going to be probably one of the greatest NASCAR drivers ever once he retires.
Brilliant.
So,
well, I'm glad for the Nadell household that your number 5 came alive,
and all the other Kyle Larson fans,
Absolutely. So, Tiff, what we got coming up next weekend? IndyCar Belle Isle, even. Belle Isle.
Happy memories from me. I've raced there.
Have you really?
It's a rubbish track for IndyCars. There's nowhere to overtake. It's one of those places you have to go to, and it's a double header. It's race Saturday and Sunday. I think the sports cars there as well. So I haven't checked that, but I think you probably have the IMSA sports cars racing around there. But now I was invited to drive a Chrysler Neon in a celebrity race. Amazingly, thankfully to Chrysler, because I was doing other things, I had to go to America on Concorde.
Wow.
So it's got 2 fabulous memories from me. I flew Concorde to get there on time and then raced it. I was having a wonderful, fun battle for the lead with someone just playing around when the gear lever came out the floor. So that was another retirement. But the only celebrity I knew was James Beard from ZZ Top. So it was great to meet a ZZ Top hero. Beard being the only one that doesn't have the beard. You're not sure of the ZZ Tops.
Good trivia.
So yeah, brings back great memory. Nigel Mansell's out there racing the IndyCar. So Belle Isle, Detroit, a lot of happy memories.
Brilliant. WEC's in Portugal and the Glickenhaus.
Yeah, the Glickenhaus. Yeah, really interesting for you hypercar fans out there, because the Glickenhaus hypercar is arriving. This hypercar regulation, you have to build a road car. It's bizarre how, I mean, Toyota haven't yet either. It appears that, you know, if you pretend you're going to build a road car, they'll let you in. And James Glickenhaus is an amazing character. He's a movie mogul. You know, he's a scriptwriter, director, movie financier who's got a passion for cars. He's got an amazing collection. He loves Ferrari. He's got some very rare cars. Had this dream of building his own race car. And actually started with the 24 Hours of Nurburgring. Not quite sure he built this GT car, which sort of seemed to be allowed into Nurburgring. So he raced there for about the last 4 years, I think, before he stopped coming. And he's built his own hypercar, which is making its debut. Fabulous looking car. Looks much better than the Toyota.
It looks fantastic.
Because this...
I was going to say, I think he follows us on our Twitter, actually, which is very...
I do. Great man. Yeah. Keep spending your money.
Yeah.
But because it's all this balance of power, which worries me greatly when Ferrari and Porsche, I think, come back, because they're going to use the LMP2 chassis rather than build. No, I think Ferrari now is going to build their own car. Anyway, because the Glickenhaus has arrived, they've slowed the Toyota and the Alpine to help them, everybody be equal. So for Joe Public watching this and trying to understand, I'll just read out what the Alpine. So Alpine, they've added 22 kilograms. They've taken away 5 horsepower by restrictors or something, and also reduced their energy by 2 millijoules or microjoules. I mean, this is going to do people's heads in if every race they've got these tiny changes to try and make all the cars as equal as possible. You know, there has to be some meritocracy. Again, this is a world championship. And you've got to write rules that sort of allow people a bit of freedom to get ahead, you know, with their own ideas.
And the brilliant engineers should excel. If you know, the Toyota engineers happen to be better, good for them. That's
within a budget restriction. That's what I like about Formula One, because if you spend too many millions, you can't let the boffins get too carried away. But no, it's great to see the Glickenhaus. Only one of them so far. They've got 2 car entries. So there'll be now 2 Toyotas, 1 Alpine and 1 Glickenhaus. And again, great track. So well worth watching if you can catch it on TV or on Tinternet.
Well, we might not be able to watch.
Circuit.
We might not be able to watch it live because you're racing, as am I. It's
that is true.
Double header for the Lovecars team. You're at Truxton? Are you at Truxton?
I've got 5 races to do. This owner of mine, John Spears, I'm in 6 races at the Silverstone Classic. He keeps on buying another car and putting me in another car. We're sharing a Cortina in one race, sharing his Capri in another, his Lister Nobly in the Stirling Moss Sports Car race, and an E-Type Jaguar. Brilliant. So I'm driving 4 fabulous cars, thanks to John Spears. And you're driving a little kit car in Scotland, I believe.
It's a kit car. It's a Caterham. It's not.
No, yours will be closer racing probably than my racing. So I
got 2 races as well up in Knockhill. So one on Saturday.
It's a double header, is it?
Yeah, double header.
Oh, so after your starring recovery at Mallory Park, Paul, what's the plan for Knockhill? Do you know what Knockhill even looks like? It is in Scotland. You're aware. It's quite a long way away. You're going to drive. You're driving it up there, are you?
Yeah, I'm going to drive up, but not in that. Caterham very kindly take my car up, but I'm going to look at the track when I get up there, whenever it is later in the week. So I'll look at it then. It'll be all right. And my plan, to answer your question, is just not to outbreak myself and just stay in contention, because I didn't realize that if you just sort of stay there, you're going to be in contention, because I should be able to keep up with the pace. I hope so at Knockhill, as I kind of had the pace in Mallory as well. So we shall see. All should be
curb hopping, big curb hopping stuff through the S's. He's blind. You have to just aim into the sky and hope you pick the right line and come out the other side in one piece. Another hairpin for you, Paul. You love dive bombing at hairpins. That should be your spot at Knockhill.
Did you notice on the hairpin? I was shuffling the wheel. I couldn't get them. I had my lock on so much on the hairpin. Anyway, but looking forward to that. Looking forward to your 5 races and a couple of races for me. So next
Come and say hello to me at Thruxton. For people in Scotland, come and say hello to Paul.
Absolutely.
And I want to announce officially here on YouTube, On the Grid, Lovecars On the Grid, that I am supporting Scotland in the European Championship after the idiots at England haven't employed James Ward-Prowse from Southampton. Now, Scotland has 2 Southampton players. I'm now a Scotland fan.
Well,
Get me Tam O'Shanter on. Tam O'Shanter's ordered.
I love the old flower of Scotland, but I'm English. I'm sorry, I can't I can't do what you did, you Judas. So I'm going to stay with England for the Euros. But best of luck to everybody, and look forward. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to next week.
And if
It'll be an exciting one.
If you've got this far listening or watching, tell your friends. YouTube, and the YouTube place is the place to go and make some comments. Stir it up. Tell us what you think on the YouTube place. Because you can't comment on any other podcast, can you, Paul? I don't know all these other places we heard.
You not really. No, it's a bit more difficult. So get in amongst the DMs or the comments on YouTube, Twitter, or even Instagram. But or drop us an email. We'd love to hear from you, especially if you can tell us how to get more views and listens, please. On that note, have a good one.
Cheers.
Cheers.